nonprofits in general, volunteering is going to be a great way to get some exposure into arts and culture. Volunteering at different festivals, volunteering for the museums in and of themselves, as well as huge arts and culture events, is going to really kind of give you that exposure to museums and other arts and culture institutions. Like I mentioned earlier, being willing to volunteer, let me clarify. Volunteer does not mean that you don't get paid to do something, right? It just means that you're going in with an open slate, and even though you may know exactly what you want your trajectory to be, you never know how one opportunity can blossom into the next. So volunteering is more so a mindset than it is an adjective. And what I mean by that is, I am going to this opportunity knowing that I want to get something more out of it. However, I am also going in open-minded to know that whatever opportunity they have available, I can take advantage of that so that it can contribute to my personal, professional, academic career in that way. I don't think that there is a typical day, but to just share some of the things that bring me a lot of excitement in my role. I'll answer a question that you didn't ask, if that's okay. Is being able to connect with people. I am not an arts and culture professional by trade. I went to high school at the Cleveland School of Science and Medicine at John Hay, then went on to the University of Toledo to major in biochemistry, pre-medicine. And after a couple of conversations with chemistry, I decided, you know what, maybe we won't be a physician after all. And then from there, I went on to major in business, and then ultimately decided to concentrate on healthcare management. From there, launched into a career of youth and community development for several social services agencies. And so long story short, January of last year was my very first time working at an arts and culture institution. Typical day, innovation, change, and just radical progress is kind of what we're dealing with. Honestly, I've been waiting for that shift to happen, and it never did. And I think it's because creativity is something that's oftentimes relegated to arts and culture. However, it's something that is incredibly necessary in every single sector. I've worked in sexual violence prevention, I've worked in housing, I've worked in youth development, chronic homelessness, you name it, a bunch of different backgrounds, and there was nothing that I encountered from a volunteer perspective or from a professional perspective that didn't require a great amount of creativity. And I think I didn't realize that before I started working here. So I was kind of waiting for like that artistic mumbo jumbo to kick in, and not realizing that I had it all along, and I was just applying it in different settings. It's oftentimes not that we don't have the ability to do it. Oftentimes, if you have the willingness to do it and you have the resources, which the team here has been incredible at helping me to get caught up on museum structure and so on and so forth, then I think that the opportunities really become endless. My advice is to be unapologetically you. And I know that sounds generic as heck. But as a person who struggled and continues to struggle with imposter syndrome, I think that I've tried at many points throughout my career to be something or be someone that I typically just wasn't. As a retired people pleaser, it can be easy for me to say, all right, well, this needs to get done. It doesn't really bode well with, like, it's not what I would do naturally, but sure, like, I'll try it, right? And don't get me wrong, that's helped me to see some success in my career as well. But the thing that allowed for me to kind of launch into this museum life is kind of making a determination when I was sitting there looking at gray walls in my cubicle in my last job, and saying, there's gotta be more to this. I think that another thing is a love for people, right? But not pleasing people, but serving people. When we serve people, we're really focused on giving them the things that they need, and also helping them, empowering them to do more and do better for themselves. And when we're pleasing people, we're just giving them the things that they want. It's kind of like giving people icing and no cake. You ever bit into a corner piece and you put your fork into it and you're like, oh, where the cake at? It's just all icing. And it was really great when you were a kid, but as you mature, you were like, all right, yeah, we gonna stay away from the corner piece because we need more substance there. And then the huge piece is collaboration. It's not a quiet piece. Museums carry some of the most intellectually superior individuals I've ever encountered before. I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but sometimes it's difficult even to get work done. Please don't sound like that. Get the whole thing. Sometimes it's difficult to get work done because you find yourself in what's supposed to be a 2-minute passing by conversation and going into such an intellectually deep level because interpretation begets that, right? Because you start from one place and then that kind of vine swings to something else, which kind of vine swings to something else, and vine swings to something else, and you find yourself in like this ultimate exchange, and both of you are trying to let go, but the art of conversation becomes so compelling that you just can't, right? And so I think one of the misconceptions about working at museums is that people think that they have to have all these degrees and they have to be, academically astute. And don't get me wrong, we take the geniuses too, but there is greater intellect, believe it or not, in conversation.